Hello everyone, welcome to the session. As part of the previous session, we have discussed about the DevOps and the tools that we are going to cover as part of our DevOps course. So now I'll I'll cover I'll quickly cover the course content that we are going to have as part of our DevOps course. As I said, the course content would be Git for source code management, Jenkins for continuous integration and continuous delivery, Maven for a build tool, Nexus would be an artifact repository, SonarQube is for code quality and assurance tool, Ansible for configuration management, Docker would be a microservice for containerizing the monolithic applications, Kubernetes for container orchestration, and Terraform would be the infrastructure as a code. So this is the course content. As part of the course content, we'll have our first video regarding the Jenkins installation, and also we'll learn what is Jenkins. So now let's move on to Jenkins. So the course content would be the Jenkins installation, Jenkins pipeline. How do you write your Groovy script to execute your Jenkins pipeline? And what plugins would you use on your daily day-to-day activity? And how do you write Groovy for multi-stages in Jenkins? And how do you deal with the master slave architecture? And how to integrate Jenkins with DevOps tools as mentioned out below. And now let's understand what is Jenkins. So when I say what is Jenkins, Jenkins is a tool that is used for automation. It is mainly an open source server that allows all the developers and operators to build, test, and deploy the software. It is written in Java and runs on Java. By using Jenkins, we can make a continuous integration of projects or end-to-end endpoint automation. So by describing this, it clearly states that Jenkins is basically used for the automation. And when I say continuous integration, the continuous integration means Jenkins is being integrated with Git, and Git usually have the source code written by the developers. And whenever the source code is upgraded with the latest code, or a commit is being created, a commit is pushed to the branch with the latest code, Jenkins will, as Jenkins integrated with Git, it will it will make sure that the latest code is compiled, it is tested, and so on. The stages which are written inside the Jenkins pipeline would be executed automatically by integrating Jenkins with the DevOps tools. And what is Jenkins? As I said, Jenkins basically facilitates the automation of several stages of the software development lifecycle, including application development, testing, and deployment, and also the infra creation. Operation with servlet containers like Apache, Tomcat, and also IBM WebSphere servers, right? And continuous delivery and integration. Pipelines can be created and managed with Jenkins. The development, testing, and deployment of software applications are automated using CI/CD pipelines. You will be able to release software more regularly with fewer problems if you do this. So this entire paragraph states that the software development lifecycle, wherein the code, once the source code is created, testing the source code, compiling the source code, building the packages. If your application is web-based, building a var package. If your application is Java-based, building a jar base. Or if your application is an enterprise, the enterprise edition, then you can have EAR packages. So Jenkins integrate with Maven and executing the Maven life cycle with the Jenkins like Maven test, Maven compile, Maven build, Maven validate, Maven deploy. You could do an automation by writing the multiple stages on your declarative declarative Groovy pipeline by describing the stage. The stage one would be Jenkins integrating with Git and pulling your latest code. And the second stage would be compiling your source code by writing a stage called Maven compile, and testing your source code by writing a stage called Maven test, and also building the packages using Jenkins like Maven build, and also creating a SonarQube report by writing Maven sonar column sonar. So Jenkins is basically a continuous integration tool wherein it integrates with the DevOps tools like Git, Maven, Ansible, Terraform, Kubernetes, and so on. And By writing the stages in the Groovy script, which is called a pipeline, these stages are executed step by step in the DevOps platform. So this clearly states that Jenkins will play a key role of heart by executing the stages which is written inside your Jenkins pipeline automatically. So Jenkins basically have the plugins which support Jenkins to get integrated with multiple tools of DevOps. So you can automate the process of CI/CD pipelines of all the projects. So this diagram clearly states that Jenkins is integrated with continuous testing Selenium tool. Jenkins is integrated with configuration management, which is Puppet, Ansible, Chef, and all. For build tool, Jenkins is integrated with Maven. For version control or source code management, Jenkins is integrated with Git. And for continuous deployment, Jenkins is integrated with Ansible. And also similarly to monitor the application which is deployed into the Kubernetes platform, Jenkins is integrated with Kubernetes. And also to monitor, we have Navios, CloudWatch, Prometheus, Grafana, Datadog. So Jenkins integrate with all the tools and it will perform the actions which are written inside your pipeline stage by stage automatically. And so, as I said, what would be the Jenkins continuous deployment and delivery? So now let's understand. We have a source code which is written by the developer. It is tested, it is compiled, it is validated, it is packaged into a package, and it is stored over your Nexus repository. And now you have a Docker which is integrated with your Jenkins. So if you want to run the Docker commands to create an image, you have already Docker file in your Git repository. You want to create an image out of it by executing a command called docker build -t and name of the image and the location of your Docker file. So this can be executed by writing a stage inside your Jenkins script, which is called a Groovy script, and you could perform the action of creating the Docker image. And also you can push this Docker image to the Docker Hub using Jenkins Groovy script, and it's also a stage inculcated in your Groovy script. Similarly, you can execute your Helm commands of your Kubernetes. By that, you can deploy your application into the containers, which might be the Apache container on which your application wants to be hosted, or a Tomcat application, or maybe a IBM WebSphere application. So by continuously integrating with multiple tools, Jenkins become a continuous integration tool, and by executing the pipeline whenever it has intimated that there is a new uh, code deployed on your Git repository, it continuously delivers the latest code changes to the application. So this is how the Jenkins become continuous integration and continuous delivery. So that's all. This is the theoretical explanation of what is Jenkins and how does Jenkins get integrated with the multiple tools, and how does it integrates and how does it executes the pipeline stage by stage. Now let's understand how do you create an instance on your Jenkins. So for you, I'll be launching a Red Hat instance on your Jenkins. So for you, I'll be launching a Red Hat instance. So if you see, this is a new instance which is loading up, and I'll have Red Hat Ubuntu. I'll select Red Hat Ubuntu, and this is a free tier. This is a free tier eligible instance, and I already have a key pair to log into this instance. If not, you could click here and create your new key pair, and you could connect to the instance that you are launching. So I have a PEM file. I have selected it, and for now, I'm making all the networking settings by default. So all these VPC and the subnets that you see here for creating this instance have the default VPC and default subnet. And all the storage platform is also a default storage for free tier, whichever the AWS provides. So now let me launch the instance. It will take a couple of minutes to launch the instance and get it done. So the instance seems to be initialized and the state of this instance is pending. And once it gets started, the status check would start. So I would name this instance as Jenkins server. So we would wait for this Jenkins to start. And if you see the instance is being created with this instance ID, the IP address would be the public IP. The public IP is being provided for this instance. It has a private IP. And you could see all the details of this instance. So now you see that the status of pending is converted into running and the status will perform. So the status check is initialized and we would need the status check to be executed two by two. So to connect to the Jenkins Red Hat server, which is a Linux platform, you have multiple ways. So the the mainly used way of connecting to the Red Hat or a Linux instance is by PuTTY or maybe a Git bash. So I would prefer a Git bash for connecting to this instance, and I'm waiting for this instance to be checked. Once this passes, we'll connect and we'll execute few commands. And as part of the Jenkins installation, the main prerequisite is to have an instance, AWS Retire account and an AWS instance. And apart from this, you would need a Java. You would need a Java installed on your instance, and Java is a prerequisite. Your Jenkins is created using Java language and it is built over the Java. So Java is a mandatory prerequisite. It's taking a couple of minutes to get this initialized. Let's wait for this. Yeah, you see the status check is passed now. Let us connect to this instance. So the main, as I said, the SSH connectivity to this instance happened with your PEM file. So I had a PEM. I'll copy this command. I'll go to the location of the PEM file, right? It would be on my. So this is my PEM file, and I will just do a git back here. So I'll do a git back here, and I have my instance launched. So I see the instance is launched. The EC2 user has been created and the IP is here. So now let's execute the commands to install Jenkins on your AWS Retire account. So I have a file written for myself. So I'm executing the first command, which would make me to have a super user, sudo user. Now I see I am into the root and I would install wget. Wget is something to download. Sorry, wget is something to download your dependencies, right? So wget is a Linux command which would be executed to download your dependencies or folders or the packages. So now it would, if you see it's being installed, it will take a minute of time. So the wget is installed. The next step is using wget, I will download the Jenkins repo and the key which is required for the, I'll download the Jenkins repo. So by executing this command, I see the Jenkins repo would be installed and that's done. Now I'll import the keys of Jenkins 2023, which is also required for executing your Jenkins software on your EC2 instance. That is done. Now let me upgrade the instance. Red Hat. The instance is being upgraded. So it's taking a while. It is executing the steps for updating and getting upgraded. Now let's copy the next way of, as I said, you would require Java as a prerequisite for executing and for running Jenkins on your server. So I am downloading or installing the Java on my Red Hat server. All the dependencies which are required are being pinned up now. It's taking a little while. Yeah, it's complete now. Now I'll install Java. So all the installation process is being pinned up for installing Java. And the next step is to install Jenkins. So the installation of Java is done. Now we'll install Jenkins as inform. Sudo yum install Jenkins. This will make sure that Jenkins is integrated and Jenkins is installed. The installation process is in progress. So Jenkins is installed. We'll reload the daemon using sudo systemctl command. We will enable the Jenkins and we'll start the Jenkins and see if Jenkins is installed. The status of the Jenkins. So the daemon is reloaded. And now we'll enable the Jenkins using systemctl command. The Jenkins is enabled in this location. And the symlink is created. We'll start Jenkins. So it's taking a while to start Jenkins server. And finally, once Jenkins is installed, we will try to see the status of the Jenkins. I see the Jenkins is started. Let's see the status of Jenkins now. System CPS status Jenkins. It states now the Jenkins is enabled and active. Now that Jenkins is enabled, and I want you to see the graphical representation of your Jenkins. So let us go to the instance. So this is your Jenkins instance, but I have everything in default. So I'll set up the networking. I'll set up the security part, the inbound rule as all traffic for now, so that people can access the Jenkins. So I'll have the security group here, and the inbound rules are this. So I'll edit the inbound rules and add a rule that this server is exposed to everyone, right? So this service is exposed to everyone. Let me save the rule. Now it's time to show you the UI page of your Jenkins. This is the public IP. And please remember, Jenkins would run on the port 8080, right? So there is copy twice. So I'll have 8080, and then you will have your Jenkins server setting up. So this is the starting page of your Jenkins, and it states to unlock your Jenkins, you have to visit this location where live Jenkins secret, and inside your initial admin password, there is a key, which is a password which is created for your Jenkins. So if you have those passwords, if you can access that password and paste it here, you can start your Jenkins. So I'm just copying the location, and I want to reach out to the location. Now I'll do a CD, and I'm going to that location. So it states there is a problem. I'll go to at least Jenkins. So I have been to the secrets location. Here I see initial admin password, right? I'll enter into the this location. Or it might be a file which basically the reason that this could not reach is initial admin password is a file. And I have to do a cat. I have to do a cat to initial admin password to retrieve the key. So I see there is a key generated here. So I'll copy this key. I'll have a key added here and I'll continue. So now you will see that your Jenkins is getting started and it is asking to select the plugins to install or you want suggested plugins. So this being a free tier, I'll go with the suggested plugin. So all the plugins which are required, as I said, for your Jenkins to start are being rendered and they are being installed. So if you see the folders, timestamp, sample, pipeline, Git, LDAP, email extension, all these are the build timeout, Gradle, and all these are the plugins which are required for your Jenkins to start. So Jenkins is started by, so you would see the activities that are being performed to get your Jenkins started. So let's wait for this to be installed. It will take a couple of minutes or more, and we would see the Jenkins page. We could create a new pipeline, right? So start understanding Jenkins and installing Jenkins from the scratch. So this is the priority that we provide to the students who would join the course. We would explain everything from the scratch. So I have shown you how do you install the Jenkins, how do you set up your Jenkins server on AWS. And going forward, we would also help you in understanding how to write a Groovy script on stage by stage. How would this Jenkins integrate with the multiple DevOps tools and how will it perform the activities? I see mostly the Jenkins installation is done. We should redirect us to the Jenkins page now. It will ask us to set up the username. So I would give something. I would give uh, as the username, password would also, I would have my own password. I'll confirm the password. I'll give an email, something. I will do save and continue. So the password did not match. I give a simple password. Yeah, it states if you have a DNS, if you have a DNS or you have purchased a kind of domain name from GoDaddy or any kind of uh, providers, you would give it. But for me, I'd make it simple. I'll have IP address, colon 8080 on which the Jenkins run. I'll do a save and finish. And now Jenkins is all ready for us to use. So you see, Jenkins looks like this. Jenkins looks like this. So if you can see the dashboard all, and you would see the new item. You here you would see the type of pipelines that you could see. So if you see there is a freestyle project, there is a pipeline, multi-configuration project, folder, multi-branch pipeline, and organization folder. So all these are types of the Jenkins pipelines. So majority of the time we might use the pipeline or a multi-configuration project. So these are the types of pipeline that you would write. And also we would go to the dashboard and understand how to do a plugin. So if you do a manage Jenkins, so you see a lot of things. So how do you integrate with cloud? How do you install a plugin? So no new updates. So you can install plugin, right? And you would see if you want to install a plugin, you would search the plugin here. If you want to see what are the plugins which are already installed, so you would see this. And so on. We would continue with the rest of the understandings regarding the Jenkins, how to write a pipeline, how do you create a job, and how do you